Okay, we are ready, Master.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for coming. Okay, so let's continue with Master YongHua's teaching, Chanchi teaching. He told us a story about this one of the high Sanghans. He, as a boy, he refused to go hunting for game meat for his mother and receive a good scolding from her. And he says, it's a bad thing. If you kill the game meat, then you eat the meat, then you're creating offenses. And so she says, it's none of your business. And even if you kill the game meat for me, I can take the punishment for you. Okay, so the Guana Varman didn't say anything, and but he stood his ground. He didn't go hunting for game meat because the parents lived in the mountains. Their father, meaning his grandfather, was a king, and he got deposed, and so the parents had to run away from the mountain, and so he. Few days later, he heated some oil in a wok and accidentally burned his hand. And so he ran to his mom at the age of 14. He said, I'm a lot of pain. Could you quickly hurry up and take its pain in my place? Okay. That's where we are right now. Okay, let's continue, please.
Please take the pain for me. This pain, endure my pain for me, my suffering. His mom said, you stupid child, you're so stupid. The pain is in you. How can I bear it for you? Speaking of the pain is in you. How can I take this pain on your behalf? Gunnar Varman said, this pain is in my body now. You can't even suffer that on my behalf. Let alone this karmic offense, this future life, karmic offense. How can you suffer that on my behalf?
前几天你不说我去打猎，
造的罪，你可以代我受。
A few days ago, you said that the offense from my hunting, you can bear it for me.
现在我身痛，你都不能代我，那么这个业障如何？你怎么可以代我呢？
Now the pain in my body, you can't even bear it for me. How can you take this karmic offense on my behalf?
他母亲一听这个，明白了，这不可以代的。于是乎，从此终身戒杀。
Once his mom heard this, she suddenly understood, oh, this cannot be replaced, so she refrained from killing for the rest of her life.
终身不吃肉了，只吃斋了。你看这个14岁的小孩子。
She stopped eating meat for the rest of her life and became a vegetarian.
就可以感化他母亲，来永远呢，这个断这个宰杀，吃这个不杀戒。
You see, a 14-year-old child can influence his mom to stop killing forever, to uphold the no-killing precepts.
所以你们教化人呢，好像度你爸爸妈妈，你都要有一个方法。
So when you teach and transform others, such as rescuing your mom and dad, you need to have a method.
这个求罗拔摩不是他，这个油把手烫破了，他故意烫破的，故意烫。
Ganarva man didn't burn his finger and hand accidentally. He did it on purpose.
烫破，叫他妈妈替他受一受，因为他要找一个方法。说的他母亲呢信服了。
He deliberately burned his hand and asked his mom to suffer for him, because he wanted to find a way to convince his mom.
果然呢，这个方法，这个神通就很灵，一用这个神通，把他母亲就感化过来。
Sure enough, this method, the spiritual penetration, was very efficacious. He used this spiritual penetration to influence and transform his mom.
感化过来，当时啊，就有一个相面的这个相师。
He influenced and transformed his mom. At that time, there was a fortune teller who practiced
Physiognomy.
Physiognomy. How do you say it again? Physiognomy is.
相面就看你这个人呢，知道你可以做什么。这个相师一见着他。
Physiognomy is as soon as he took a look at you, he would know what you can do as soon as this fortune teller took a look at him.
你这个人呢，在30岁的时候，你就可以呀、面南背北。
You, when you're 30 years old, you can face south with your back facing north.
登基做皇帝，做大国的皇帝。 果你不做皇帝呢？
Ascend the throne and become an emperor. Become an emperor of a powerful country if you don't become an emperor.
你也可以呀、出家正圣果，可以呀、做出世圣果。
You can also leave the home life and attain fruition. You can become a sage and transcend the world. 等到他20岁的时候，就出家受具足戒。受具足戒，就是到处弘扬佛法。 At the age of 20, he left the home life and became fully ordained. After receiving full ordination, he propagated Buddha Dharma everywhere.
Okay, let's stop here and backtrack a little bit. Excuse me. So we're at so he the young boy at 14 burned his hand, ran to his mother and asked her for help. Says, "Take this pain away from me immediately." And the mother says, "Are you so stupid? How can you be this stupid? The pain is yours. No one can bear it for you. I can't bear it for you." And so Varman sees the occasion and says, "So if you can't even bear the pain on my behalf, how can you possibly suffer on my behalf in the future for my karmic offenses, for killing the game meat for you? And that's what you told me a few days ago. You insisted that I went to hunt for game meat for your pleasure, and that you would bear the karmic offenses, the killing offenses for me. But now, with this pain in my body, you can't even substitute for me to receive the pain. How can you possibly take the pain from my karmic offenses, the karmic retributions on my behalf in the future? I would kill for you." And so the mother understood that, and she had an awakening, and she refrained from killing for the rest of her life. This is very impressive of a boy to seize the opportunity, and we can all learn from that. This is, as it was said a little bit later, she stopped eating meat, became vegetarian, and actually the boy did it on purpose. He burned his hand on purpose, okay, so that he found a way to convince his mom. And so he's pretty smart. He has wisdom. In Master Shihao called it spiritual penetration. Well, it's more for the people then at his time. This is not real spiritual penetration. This is really wisdom. The boy had wisdom beyond his age. So right there, you can tell that he's wise beyond his ages, his own age, and so this is what we can all learn from his example. If you have wisdom, you have more wisdom than the others. Don't force it upon others. Okay, don't fight with them. He stood his ground. His mom said, "Go, I feel like eating game meat. Go kill something for me. Quickly, come back." He said, "No, I won't." And she chided him, she scolded him, but he stood his ground. Okay, he said, "I would not kill game meat." Okay, and he has enough strength to be able to stand his ground without yielding to his mother, and patiently waited for the chance to make a case to her that killing is a bad thing for her. Okay, and so this is what we can learn from this boy here. That's wise people. They patiently wait for opportunities. I feel that for him to burn his hand with oil like that is probably, I would not do. It's not advisable. There's a precept where we are not allowed to harm ourselves in general. We cannot harm ourselves. Okay? And to do that is not advisable. Don't do that, please. Okay? Especially you at home. Don't do it that way. Even with people with wisdom, I feel that if you do it on purpose, you're tricking people. That bothers me. How do you feel about it? Even though you have the wisdom, you're trying to help, you have a good cause, just because you have a good cause, you have a good reason, you have a good intentions, you're not supposed to trick people. If Master YongHua claims that this boy here burned his hand on purpose, I disapprove of that. It's tricking his mom. How do you feel about it? You think it's justifiable? I don't. Just to influence you. It's not okay to hurt yourself. It's not okay to do things to trick people so that you can convince them that they're wrong. And that's wrong. You cannot do that. Okay? I feel that if you want to help people, you patiently wait for the right opportunities. 随缘不变. That's what Master YongHua taught. Okay? You accord with condition, you don't change. Meaning that you don't change, meaning that you wait. You have your principles, you stick to your principles, you don't wait. I mean, you don't compromise yourself. You don't need to trick people. That bothers me. Okay? And 随缘, if it's not meant to be, don't force it. He didn't force his rationale, his mom. He says, you do whatever you want. I'm going to stick to my ground. You want to eat game meat? I don't want to kill for you. You can find other means to get game meat. That's fine. I accept that. Okay? But so that is 随缘, meaning that he cannot convince his mother. That's fine. But for him to go burn himself is not 随缘. Agree, disagree? Do you understand, Xianjie? I'm very tired. And when I speak Dharma, I project my voice. You have to understand the time. You have to understand the place. Every time I see you, you're so depressed. You say, I don't feel like being here. Are you sure it's you?
No, I guess I'm sure it's not me.
This is why you're here. There's a time where I come here, people come here, it's no longer you. You can feel bad all you want by yourself. But when there's people here, you have to serve people. I don't feel like being here. I'm so tired. I'm not happy. That's not you. When are you going to wake up? I give you plenty of chances to serve others. So, no, you're the same from morning to evening. So, I'm not feeling good. I'm sleepy. I don't want to be here. You folks understand the advantage of being a great assembly like this, because when in a great assembly, we try to help the others. We concentrate less on ourselves. When are you going to wake up to that? You've been here for so long, you still don't get it. Every time you talk, hello everyone, I'm Xinjie. I hate being here. I'm so depressed. Is that really you?
Yes, I'm sorry, Master. I'll work on that.
You see, I waited and waited year after year after year, and I don't ever impose myself upon you. I don't trick you to teach you this point. And this is why I disapprove of this boy here. Okay? You have wisdom, you don't trick people. You patiently wait until the right opportunity. Because he's lucky he tricked his mom bought into it because he has prior blessings. So she stopped eating once she understood the reasons, when she bought into the concept of not creating, killing karmas. That's her blessings. And if she didn't have the blessings and he tricked her, it would not have health. You agree or disagree? It's none of his doing. It's her blessings that she was able to listen to reason and stop creating, killing karmas, and therefore become better off the rest of her life. That's her blessings. And if he tried to cheat her and tried to trick her, and she didn't have the blessings, it's nothing. She's not going to change. He only created offenses. You understand that? We don't need to trick people. We don't need to impose our will, our knowledge on others because you feel we're smarter. You're not. You wait. Like I waited for you for 12 years, for you to understand. When you were at a low level, I forgive you. But now at your level, you should know better. When I told you at a certain level, it's for a reason. Behave accordingly. Okay, so you see, tricking people, using what Master YongHua calls spiritual penetration, to me is nonsense. It's not spiritual penetration. Okay, it's wisdom. He understands there's a trick. He understands that he has a final way to convince her. But to trick her, to make his point, is unacceptable to me. Okay? We don't do that here in this country. No, we don't do it here at this temple. Is that clear? You don't manipulate people. Idiot. YouTube question.
From WMT Daniel, is that called scheming?
It's not scheming. It's just tricking people. Pour wool over people's eyes to get what you want. That's no wisdom. That's stupidity. We don't trick people at all. To trick people is dirty. It's defilement. How could you possibly think of tricking people? You're so dirty, so defiled. So he influenced, transformed his mom. I'm at 125 now, okay? And it's fine for them people in the country, but again, I stress to you. Is that your fake eye, ball, the ear? Oh, okay. I thought it's the eye thing. The glass eye, Okay, so he influenced, transformed his mom. don't ever do this, okay? We don't do this in our temples. At that time, there was a fortune teller who practiced physiognomy. Physiognomy. Okay? And that's the superior. This is superior. Chinese, they look at your facial features, your body, and so forth. Okay, the Asian knowledge is pretty superior. The Western physiognomy system is also pretty good, but it's based on data regression. They picked up a lot of data, picked up a lot of instances, then they arrive at a pattern for those facial features. Okay, but the Western physiognomy is by far much less accurate than the Asian physiognomy. Okay, historically, that's the case. Okay, so don't even you go into physiognomy, don't bother going to Western physiognomy. Okay, it's a waste of your time. It's nonsense. Go and learn from the Asians. It's much better. Go ahead. From a question from JMT.
근데 마스터께서 제가 사람들을 싫어하는 거에 대해서 어제 말씀을 하셨고, 제가 좀 그 법문 이후로 계속 관찰을 해보니까, 제가 사람들을 좀 싫어하는, 그러니까 기본적으로 사람들을 싫어하는 게 맞고, 특히 남자보다는 여자들을 더 싫어하는 것을 어제 확인했습니다. 일단 여기까지 먼저 부탁드립니다.
Yesterday's Dharma talk. Master, I'm going back to the yesterday's Dharma talk. After the Dharma talk, I pay attention to the content of talk, and then basically I understood that I hate people, especially I hate women rather than men.
근데 좀 전에 그렇다면 이제 여자 중에서도 어떤 여자들을 내가 싫어하나 했더니 이제 제가 제 여동생이 싫었던 게 단순히 쉽게 얻으려고 하는 것 때문에 싫었던 걸로만 생각을 했는데 이 사람 여기까지 먼저 또 한번 끊을까요? 네네. 여동생이 그러니까 좀 쉽게 얻으려고 하는 것 때문에 제가 좀 싫은 줄 알았는데 좀 전에 법문을 듣고 보니 그러니까 다시 말하면 어머니를 교화시키기 위해서 일부러 손을 대인 것처럼 제 여동생이 저희 부모님으로부터 동정심을 이끌어내기 위해서 좀 더 과장되게 아픈 척을 한다든지 좀 더 과장되게 슬픈 척을 했던 것들이 어린 제 나이에도 그게 여동생의 행동들이 좀 가식적이라고 해야 되나 거짓되다고 해야 되나 그런 것들이 포착이 돼서 제가 좀 여자들을 제 여동생 유형의 여자들을 싫어했던 것 같아요.
So the reason maybe I was hating female is because it started from my younger sister. I noticed that the type of people who's try to gain something without any effort. That was the case for my sister. After the Dharma, you just talked about this story, and then that kind of remind me more into my story that my sister sometimes exaggerated her pain and sadness and try to look pity in front of my mom and try to influence her. So even I was young, I noticed that, and that's why I didn't like women similar to my sister's type.
그래서 질문은 제가 좀 약간 이런 식으로 약간 법문에 나온 등장하신 그분을 당연히 제가 뭐 비난하는 건 아닌데 어쨌든 이렇게 제 주변에서 이렇게 좀 가식적이고 좀 연극성 성격장애라고 하는데 그런 종류의 사람들에 대해서 제가 어떤 마음으로 돌이켜야 이 사람들에게 좀 더 친절할 수 있는지 그것을 질문드립니다.
So the question is, like this young boy, more like a fake, and then they try to show certain way and try to influence people. When I see these people, what can I do?
None of your business. You keep on judging people who are who they are. None of your business. It's their lives. We all get what we deserve. You judge them, you criticize them, you reject them, you hate them. Who's suffering? You or them? When are you going to learn? Look at yourself, don't look at people. Look at your faults. Embrace others' faults. That's all there is to it. You've been at the temple a few years, you don't still understand that? Look at your own faults. Not at others. That's wisdom. If you keep on looking at others' faults, there's no end to it. You become very unhappy. When are you going to learn? It's not your sister's fault. It's no one's fault. It's your fault that you're unhappy. We are who we are. You have to accept them as they are. You keep on blaming your sister for this, blaming your mom for that, blaming for, someone else for something else. It's never end. You're tormenting yourself ceaselessly. When are you going to see that? It's no one's fault. It's your fault. You keep on blaming others. Stop looking at others' faults. Ignore others' faults. Life is more pleasant that way. So the Eastern physiognomy people, they have a lot of, because the system, the Asian system, the Chinese system is based on the sages. The sages used to do that. They used to, people like Master YongHua in the prior lives, he would come to China and invent something called physiognomy techniques that he passed on to his children, to his disciples, and so forth. And that's why the accumulation of all that knowledge made the Asian physiognomy technique very, very advanced, because it was invented by the sages. Okay? And that's why they can be very, very good. And the fact, when you look at it, when you look at why it's so accurate, is because your physical attribute, your physical looks, actually are a reflection of your blessings. Okay, and that's the Buddhist wisdom. So in general, the Asian physiognomy techniques are very, very advanced, very accurate, quite often. But what that it doesn't do is there's a weakness in that system. Is that what are people like you? You cultivate and you improve. Okay, so then you will see that your physiognomy begins to change itself. Okay, you don't believe me? Look at the old photos of Master YongHua, and when he was younger, he was in his 20s. His face is long and oblong, if you will. Okay, long like an African mask. Okay, the African's art. I mean, any of you seen the African arts? Okay, they like to wear. I saw a lot of masks. made of black wood, okay? Because my teacher, my high school French teacher, my English teacher, a French lady, her husband used to, she and her husband used to be in Africa teaching French to the Africans. So they collected a lot of these African masks. And I noticed that the beauty of the African people is like longer face, longer neck, and so forth. Okay? And that's what Master YongHua's face used to look like when he was younger. So you could say he's more African back then. Okay? But later, after he came to the U.S., and you saw the photos, the later photos, you see that his facial feature, actually the face became like the Tian Zi, the rectangular, more squarish, if you will. Okay, so it shows that his blessings manifested differently. Okay, so that's why physiognomy is fun, but don't take it as forever, because it could be accurate, but you can change through cultivation. Yeah, your blessings will accrue through cultivation. Okay, so this fortune teller took a look at him, and he says, when you're 30 years old, whatever, you become a throne or an emperor of a very powerful country. And if at that time, an emperor, you'll be a left-home person and would attain sagehood. So at the age of 20, this boy here, 6 years later, became a left-home person, and then became fully ordained. And he started working, propagating the Buddha Dharma. Let's find out more about how he went about doing that. All right? Continue, please.
Ordinary people all respected and believed him. They believed this Dharma master very much. The sutras he read included all Mahayana and Hinayana texts. He read millions of verses. Such as Shurangama Sutra, Lotus Sutra, he was able to memorize them. He memorized them.
这时候正在他年到30岁这时候，这个毕宾果呀，国王死了。
At that time, it also happened that when he was 30 years old, the king of Bibing passed away.
死了，没有人呢可以继承做皇帝。这个毕宾果，这个一般的臣民、老百姓呢，就通通大家来选。
He passed away and had no heir to succeed as the king. So the Bibing ministers and commoners elected together.
No heir. No heir is
No heir.
us.
Yeah, sorry.
一选呢，就说这个求生法魔，他既有道德，又有学问。
They elected and said the Gunavarman, not only he has way virtue, but also is well learned.
Go ahead, Wei Mountain. I'm glad you corrected it. Wei virtue. Virtue is something else.
Hello, Master. This is one tech. I have a question about the cultivation after the enlightenment you mentioned yesterday. I would like to know if there is a cultivation after the enlightenment, and we have a lot of discussions in Korea, and that is from the, I guess it's a Songchol Snim, and we have some kind of a exam before the full ordination. I got also kind of a test, got the test, and I remember there is what is correct answer after the enlightenment? Is that gradual cultivation or the sudden cultivation? So would you please clarify what is the correct one, and would you please elaborately explain for me, Master? Thank you.
I disagree with discussing about cultivation after you have wisdom to people who have no wisdom. I don't know what happened, but for the Sunims or the monks and nuns to keep on talking and arguing, discussing about things that they have no idea about would be a waste of time. I disapprove of it. I feel that it's counterproductive. Why would you be discussing things that enlightened people do? Whatever they do is none of your business. Whatever they do is not something you can understand at all. So why would you be discussing it? You're making conjectures. You have no idea what you're talking about. If I were your teachers, I would have scolded you. I said, no, you cut it out. It's total waste of time. And you're creating offenses. This is what happened to idiots in our country right now, namely Master YongHua disciples. They are going against our teachers' teaching. They are gossiping about others. And I hope you don't ever do that. Because just like Jumi, she keeps on looking at others, people, and it's called stupidity. There's no other word for it. Why do you keep on discussing what other people are doing? It's sheer stupidity. Your Sunims, teachers, should have stopped you and say, hey, cut it out. You're creating offenses. You're saying things about the enlightened people that you have no idea what they're like, why they're doing certain things. It's so stupid. It's totally stupid. Yes, some of you may have opened your eyes and saw a little bit of, a few things, and you say, "Oh my God, this is so wonderful. Oh my God, it is so bad." What are you doing looking at those things? What is the matter with you? You should look at your own faults. That's what my teacher taught me. That's what I remember. It's none of my business. If you do something wrong, it's your problem. You will bear the consequences. You will fall because of it. None of my business. What are you doing talking about cultivation after you're enlightened when you're not even enlightened? Even after you're enlightened, what are you doing talking about all these people cultivation? None of your business. That's how stupid these people are. When are they going to stop doing this? This is nonsense. What happened to their teachers? What is the matter with them? What's the matter with all of you? Why do you keep on looking at others? It's none of your business. You are here. They're here. And you try to understand why they do certain things? How stupid can you be? You only see part of the picture. You don't even know what's going on. Isn't that a waste of time? I'm asking you. When you see a movie, you want to see only what part of the movie? You want to see the entire movie? I like to see the entire movie from James Bond from beginning to end. Otherwise, it's not worth it to me. What's the matter with you? You don't know. So stop talking about it. You become enlightened. Then you'll be taught what to do. Until then, it's none of your business. After you become enlightened, you'll be taught what to do. Still the same thing. None of your business what other enlightened people are doing. Absolutely none of your business. You stupid.
There.
Our principle, our way of life is that we don't look at others' faults. We look only at our faults. That's it. This is what makes us superior, because we look at our faults and we fix our faults. That's why we improve. Whereas those other idiots, enlightened as well as unenlightened, keep on looking at others' faults, my faults, your faults, and they don't get anywhere. They only create offenses. You want to be like that? Be my guest. We don't. Not our temple. Not my disciples. You understand, Jumi? When are you going to wake up? Stop looking at other people. You keep on looking at other people and blaming them and judging them because you're sick, you're manic. Cut it out. You're making yourself miserable and everyone around you miserable. That's all you're doing. Cut it out. You should consider yourself very lucky you're still around, because you walk away from people, you walk away from Sunims that you're not impressed with. I don't know why you're still around. You're very lucky, because it's very tough to be around our temple. You hear things that are unpleasant about you. I'm the only one here at the temple who's allowed to look at your faults. None of my disciples is supposed to look at your faults until I allow them to teach you. I will teach them how to teach you by looking at your faults. That's my job. That's what I do to train people. But if you're not training, you should only look at your own faults. And do not try to manipulate people. If you think you're smart, that is absolutely not acceptable. You're committing offenses. Continue. Go ahead, JMT.
Yes, yes, 마스터. 말씀을 듣고 제 비즈니스가 아니라고 하신 말씀을 듣고 났더니 제가 피해의식이 많았구나라는 것을 인식했고 앞으로 그런 판단적인, 가식적이다 이런 판단적인 마음이 들 때마다 저의 피해의식을 보겠습니다. 감사합니다.
Master, after I heard about that none of my business, I realized that I sometimes victimize myself. From now on, when I feel like that I'm being fake and then judgmental, then I'm going to look into myself about that, how I think about myself as a victim.
Fix it. Continue.
他要是做皇帝最好了，所以能帮助我们这个国家，咱们就请他去做皇帝。
It would be the best if he becomes the emperor because he can help our country, so they requested him to be the emperor.
他说：“我现在呀，出家修行，不问世事。”
He said, I have now left the home life to cultivate and am not concerned with worldly affairs.
你呀，请我做皇帝，我不会做了啊！你呀，另选其他的贤能了，也推脱不做。
You requested me to be the emperor, but I won't do it. Please select another worthy, talented person.
不做皇帝，在这个时候啊，他就周游列国，
He turned down the request and did not become an emperor. He did not become an emperor. At that time, he traveled around different countries.
在印度所有的国家，他到了很多国家。对呀，弘扬啊这个禅宗，弘扬啊这个大乘佛教。
He went to many countries in India to propagate Chan Buddhism and Mahayana Buddhism.
他因为对一般的文武百官呢，来左一次请他，右一次请他，请了多少次？
Because the group of civil and military officials invited him left and right, they invited him many times.
一定啊，请他做皇帝。请了有一次、二次、三次、四次、五次，甚至六次、七次，还请了头。
They must have him as the emperor. They invited him once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, even 6 times and 7 times.
无论如何，请他做皇帝。
No matter what, they insisted on inviting him to come out and become the emperor.
你是怎么样的？这时候他就跑了。
What do you think happened? At that time, he ran away.
到这个深山穷谷，人看不见，找不着他这个地方。
He ran to a desolate, remote, and poor mountainous area where others can't see or find him.
一天吃点树叶子啊，或者吃点草根呐，在这个地方啊，就这么修行。
He ate some leaves and grass roots a day and cultivated at this place like that.
这自己呀，在这个山里头这么样子来修行，和这个野兽啊，在一起。
He cultivated in the valley by himself like that. He was with the beasts.
这么修行以后啊，他又到狮子谷。
He cultivated like that, and later he went to Simhala. 穷谷人看不见，找不着他这个地方。一天吃点树叶子啊，或者吃点草根呐。那么修行以后啊，他又到狮子国。狮子国啊，大约就是现在的西兰的整个狮子国。Simhala is probably today's Sri Lanka. Ceylon was called Simhala in the past.
到那儿去参小，又到那地方去弘扬佛法。现在上师的一般的人呢，就知道这个这位法师已经。
He went there to study and also to propagate the Buddha Dharma. At that time, ordinary people all knew this Dharma master had attained fruition. He had attained fruition.
他呀，对这个一切的众生啊，都有一种的感动力无论谁呀，一看见他，就都发菩提心了。
He had influence and power over all living beings. No matter who saw him, would bring forth the Bodhi mind.
那么以后，他到一个国家叫蛇坡，在他没到这个蛇坡国以前呢，这蛇坡国这个皇帝的母亲就做了一个梦。
Later, he went to a country called Shepol. Before he arrived in Shepol, the mother of the emperor of the country had a dream.
做了一个什么梦呢？就看见一只飞船在那海里飞来呀，一只船，这个船上呢坐着一个沙门。
What dream? She saw a flying boat. She saw a boat flying on the ocean. on the boat seated with a shamanite.
第二天呢，果然这个丘诺巴摩的法师就来了，这个国王的母亲非常兴奋。
Sure enough, the next day, Dharma Master Gunarvaman arrived. He arrived, and the mother of the emperor believed in him very much.
昨天晚上做那个梦，就是这一位法师来了，在梦中看和这个法师差不多这个样子。于是乎的。
In my dream last night, it was this Dharma Master who came. What I saw in my dream was about the same as this Dharma Master.
他就很相信这个法师了，就跟着这个法师呢就受五戒。
Thus, she believed in this Dharma Master very much. She received the 5 precepts from this Dharma Master.
受五戒就修行，你修行时间久。
After receiving the 5 precepts, she cultivated.
除了，他就跟着他修佛法，修了很多道理。
She cultivated for a long time and learned the Buddha Dharma from him, learned many principles from him.
有一天呢，这个皇帝的母亲就对这皇帝说：“我和你呀，很有缘的。”
One day, the emperor's mother told the emperor, "I have affinity with you.
所以你做我的儿子，我做你的妈妈，这是很不错了。”
So you're my son, and I am your mother. That's very good.
可是现在我信佛了，你不信佛，这个因果就不同啦。
But now I believe in Buddhism, but you don't believe in Buddhism. Our cause and effect are different now.
恐怕将来呀，再就没有这么好的因果了啊！这个，因为我们两个人所行的道路都不同啊。
I'm afraid in the future we won't have such good cause and effect anymore. That's because the path we walk is different now.
国王一听，这妈妈信佛，说这个话，这也是欢喜他信佛。
Once the emperor heard this, that his mother believed in Buddhism and said such words, he wanted to believe in Buddhism as well.
虽然没有一定叫他勉强他来信佛，
Although she didn't insist, didn't force him to believe in Buddhism.
但是这个言语之间的这个意思已经表现出来了，是欢喜他信佛。
But her words insinuated that she wanted him to believe in Buddhism.
于是乎就对他妈妈讲说：“那好了，我也受五戒喽，啊。”
Therefore, he told his mother, "Okay, I will also take the 5 precepts."
于是乎啊，就勉勉强强的也 跟着这个求罗跋摩法师呢受了5戒，不杀生，不偷盗，不邪淫，不妄语，不饮酒。
So reluctantly, he took the 5 precepts with Gunarvaman as well. No killing, no stealing, no sexual misconduct, no lying, no intoxication.
国王受了5戒，那么一开始的时候本来对佛法没有什么兴趣。
The emperor received the 5 precepts. Originally, he didn't have much interest in the Buddha Dharma.
以后时间一久了，因为这个求罗跋摩这位法师是已经出国的圣人。
But after a long time, because the Dharma master Gunarvaman was a sage who attained the first fruition,
所以讲的道理呢，也很圆满。久而久之啊，这国王也就生了信心。
the principles he explained were complete. As time went by, the emperor brought forth faith.
佛法真是妙不可言，太好了！我怎么不早一点研究佛法？
He said, "This Buddha Dharma is truly wonderful beyond words. How come I didn't investigate the Buddha Dharma earlier?" Master, it keeps moving the cursor.
That's it?
I'm trying to move to next page. Okay. Yeah, no, Master's moving. Somebody's moving.
对佛法深大信心，这是真是哇！幸亏我得到一个好的妈妈。
He brought forth great faith in the Buddha Dharma. He said, "I'm really fortunate to have a good mother."
我这个妈妈信佛她度呢我也信佛，真好，非常高兴。
My mother believes in Buddhism and helped me to believe in Buddhism as well. This is great. He was very happy.
正在高兴的时候呢，有了麻烦，什么麻烦呢？那个邻国呀，就来和他作战了。
When he was happy, there was trouble again. What trouble? His neighboring country went to war with him. Went to war.
邻国就是那个挨着他那国家，就想来和他打仗。
The neighboring country was the country next to his, and wanted to go to war with him.
打仗的皇帝，你说怎么就求他这个师傅了？说哎呀，这个信佛就有人欺负
Went to war. So what you think the emperor did? He begged his master. He said, I believed in Buddhism, and others started to bully me. 恶
的就人呢，就有人怕；善的人就有人欺负。 我以前没有信佛的时候，他也不敢来和我作战。
People are afraid of evil people, but bully kind people. In the past, when I don't believe in Buddhism, he dared not go into war with me.
现在信佛了，他来呀打我。你说我要是用兵和他去作战吧，会杀死很多众生。
Now I believe in Buddhism. He is invading me. If I fight him with my armies, it will kill many living beings.
要不战吧，我的国家就亡了。我请问这个师父，这怎么办呢？
But if I don't fight, my country will be destroyed. Master, what shall I do?
就是让你给我一个外甥。
That's asking for advice. Dharma Master Gunarvaman said, the neighboring country is invading you.
可以呀，用这个军力来对付他，但是应该生慈悲心，不要生一种杀生的心。
You can use military power against him, but you should have a compassionate mind instead of a killing mind.
你要受过五戒了，要发一种慈悲心、怜悯心来对他作战，不要生嗔恨心。
You have received the 5 precepts, so you should go into war with a compassionate mind and merciful mind. Do not have a hateful mind.
这个国王听师父这样的告诉他，他就这样去做去。
The emperor heard this advice from his master, so he did so.
就告诉所有的军队，都念大悲观世音菩萨。
He told all his armies to recite Namo Guanxin Bodhisattva of Great Compassion.
都要可怜对方这个军队，不要以这个杀生为主体，要可怜他。
To take pity on the enemy's troops, do not make killing as the main theme, but to take pity on them.
所有的军队这都念南无观世音菩萨，一边去作战一边念观世音菩萨。
So all the troops recited Namo Guanyin Bodhisattva. They went to war while reciting Guanyin Bodhisattva.
这果然呢，和这个敌人一作战，那个敌人呢就不战而退，没有打呢就跑了，被他。
Sure enough, once they went into the battle, the enemy retreated without fighting. They ran away without fighting.
这边的这种威德就是贺主，让他跑打败了，可是这果。
The enemies were frightened by their awesome virtue. They were so frightened that they ran away. They lost. They were defeated.
国王也受伤， 被这个箭呢，给把脚射坏了。
The neighboring country was defeated, but the emperor was also injured by an arrow. An arrow injured his foot.
射坏了，回来了。这个打一胜仗，国王虽然受伤了，回来也很高兴。这个
They returned because they fought a victorious battle. Although the emperor was injured, he was still happy when they returned.
求呢，拔摩法师就给他用这个大悲咒啊，加持这个水呀。
Then Dharma Master Granavaman used the Great Compassion Mantra to bless the water.
用水念给念大悲咒啊，洗他这个伤，用这个咒水给他一洗伤。
He recited the Great Compassion Mantra to the water and washed his wound. He used this mantra water to wash his wound.
昨天洗完了，过了3、5天，好了，没有事，他不痛。
After that, 3 to 5 days later, he recovered. He was fine and it didn't hurt anymore.
也不痛了。这国王对这位法师啊，就更相信，很诚恳。
It didn't hurt anymore, so the emperor believed this Dharma master even more. He earnestly believed in him. 和国王和这个邻国作战，得到胜利。 The emperor of Shepul won the victory in the war against the neighboring country.
他知道啊，这真是佛法无边。于是乎啊，他就天天来研究佛法。
He knew that the Buddha Dharma is boundless, so he investigated Buddha Dharma every day.
研究了一个时期，他就得到一点体悟，他做皇帝。
After a while of investigation, he had some awakening. He was awakened and said,
很多麻烦的事情，这个事情有问皇帝，那个事情有问皇帝。
To be an emperor, there are many troublesome matters. They ask emperor about this matter, they ask emperor about that matter.
我们出家做一个僧人嘛， 家。
It would be better to leave the home life and be a monk. Then there won't be this much trouble. Why not letting go in this life?
Okay, then stop here. We don't have enough time. It seems to go on and on and on. Okay, let's backtrack a little bit and see what we can learn from this story here. Well, there's many, many movements, as they say in the orchestras, the symphonies. Wow, that's what we went through a lot. Okay. Okay, I think we started at 1:30, right? The last comment reached 129. Okay, so he left the home life at the age of 20 and became fully ordained. And after full ordination, he propagated the Buddha Dharma everywhere. Okay, this is at different times, if you will. This is a long, long time ago, where you can simply leave the home life and they will ordain you because no training whatsoever. Okay, and because it's so new, unlike nowadays, where you have the age of the internet, you have so much information, so much competition. Back then, there's no Buddha Dharma at all. So when he became fully ordained, he didn't really need much training. He just simply went around and recited sutras. Okay? And ordinary people respect him, believes they are a master. He has some samadhi power. That's why he got respect from people, monks and nuns. You want people to respect you. It's not because you put on airs. They respect you because you have samadhi power. Okay? This is a requirement. The people don't expect people to respect you because you have a degree or you come from a big association, you're a disciple of a great master and so forth. All those things will die, will wane. Whereas your samadhi power, it will stay with you and will enable you to do things for others. Okay? So I'm trying to emphasize to you these times are different. Back then, all he had to do was he recited a lot of Mahayana, Hinayana texts, and these, if you read Hinayana texts, for example, they're very, very good. They're very insightful. They give you a lot of insights. They give you a lot of clues on how to better live your life. So that's why he had access to these sutras, so he would recite them, he would talk about the principles contained in the sutras. And that alone was so insightful, so helpful to a lot of people. He read millions of verses. So if you have no teacher like him, you have to read a lot of sutras. Okay? And he read sutras such as Srangama Sutra, Lotus Sutra, and so forth. He was able to memorize them. I don't know why he keeps on repeating himself. Chinese people, help me out. Is that a Chinese thing of his era where he keeps on saying, he memorized them. He was able to memorize them. He memorized them all. Something like that. You do it every now and then is okay. When you do it every single time, every single slide, okay, that's a little bit too much. I don't understand it. Is it a Chinese custom, Chinese habit, or what? Or is it he had people who kind of slow, so he had to repeat twice so that they could remember what he talked about? It's weird. Either way, it's weird to me that he keeps on repeating himself like this. Okay, for us we have the because we stop. That's how we collect our thoughts and prepare, formulate our thoughts. But for him, it seems like he repeats himself. Yeah, and so it's different, if you will. But again, the point here is that he didn't have a lot of competition. Nowadays, we have so much competition. We have like 100 different versions of Srangama Sutra translations, and there's more coming out from more monks and nuns who are trying to impress us. So they translate these sutras, and they don't know what they're translating. They don't even know the principles. Okay, so it's different back then. That's my point. Back then, you only have to do is recite the texts of the sutras, and that's revolutionary. The thinking, the ideas, the thought contained in the sutras are revolutionary. It still is the same. Okay, but nowadays we have so many different versions, so we have competition from monks, great monks like Master YongHua, versus, in particular, two kinds of competition for him: low-level monks and nuns, who is trying to make a name for themselves. In contrast, Master YongHua, not at all interested in making a name for himself. Okay, he's only teaching his disciples. It happened to be recorded, so now it's available to us. But he wasn't doing it in order to become famous, contrary to the monks and nuns nowadays. When I was cultivating, that's what a lot of monks and nuns were doing. They translated so that they can be known as a translator, or they would go to get a PhD degree from a good Buddhology department, a well-known department, so that they're recognized, they have the label as being knowledgeable about Buddhism. For us, it's nonsense. We're not impressed by that. Okay, but nowadays people are different. Back then, these people, they heard of this monk who can memorize and recite the Srangama Sutra, Lotus Sutra. They were impressed. This is it. This is my master. Okay, it's a different world, you will. Okay, and when he's 30, the country Bibin, where he was a citizen, died without heir. So they all wanted him to become an emperor, which is kind of weird. Okay, meaning it tells you that it's a different world again, because nowadays, if the president dies, you have the vice president, and you have the many people who are waiting for a chance to step into those shoes. So they would not even go back to the relatives. Okay, so you see, it's different world, different times, different way of thinking. Okay. So he came and they request him to be a home life, to be an emperor. He says, no, I'm a monk. I don't want to be an emperor. And so he did not become emperor. Instead, he continued to propagate Buddhism, okay, in many countries. I mean, India is meaning very small, very small countries in India back then. So stuff he meant by many countries. He went to one country, the next country in India, that's different countries. But maybe we're talking about 10 miles, 100 miles, okay? And so the people from Bibin country, his original country, mother country, they kept on coming, they kept on harassing him many, many times. And he had no choice but run away to remote and poor mountainous area where he can be by himself. Okay, now, when you become a monk, okay, you don't want to start teaching immediately. That's nonsense. Okay, in our world, we need to have the proper training because you're ill-prepared. You don't have the skills yet to teach, nor do you have the wisdom to know what you're doing. So get the training first. This is what I emphasize. If you want to have something important out of your life, you have life, make a difference with your life, you need training. You need to take training seriously. Okay, and training is not simply go to a program like I did. I went to a training where I just stayed in the temple. To me, training has to be measured. We go to university, you graduate per class. You need to take tests. You need to meet a certain requirement before they graduate. You give you a grade, and every year. You go to the next class, next year, and so forth, where the curriculum gets harder. The similar thing should happen in Buddhism within the temple. You don't just sit and live in the temple like that. It's fine, if you want to be living off the triple jewel, I have no problems with it. Okay, but for us, okay, we look at it differently. We doing what we're doing together is to improve and to get training so that we have the wisdom, we have the skills, we have the samadhi power to help. Okay? So it's different. Our approach is different from the typical approach. So he ran away, and now he has a chance to cultivate by himself, finally. Okay? He taught too soon, in my opinion. Okay. He ate some leaves, grass, roots, okay, cultivated places like that by himself. He was with the beasts. And then after a while, he decided to go to Simhala, which is, Ceylon. Okay? Ceylon. Ceylon. How do you pronounce it again? Ceylon? Yeah. Okay, we went to Ceylon, which is Sri Lanka. So, Jewel Kong, go ahead.
네, 한국어 유튜브에 올라온 한나님 질문입니다. 안녕하세요. 한나가 질문 드립니다. 구나발마의 어린 시절 이야기가 인상적입니다. 다만 저는 구나발마처럼 지혜롭지도 복이 있지도 않습니다. 그래서 양심에 찔리면서도 그 행동을 할 때 어쩌면 좋을지 궁금합니다. 예를 들어 저는 동물을 좋아해서 Animal rights, 고기를 먹지 않습니다. 그런데 20년 전에 완전 채식은 저도 자신이 없었고 부모님의 반대가 심해서 햇물은 먹는 것으로 타협을 했습니다. 그런데 부모님께서는 지금도 제가 고기를 먹지 않는 것에 대해 불평을 하십니다. 부모님의 기분이 상하는 것이 마음이 편하지 않지만 고기를 먹을 생각은 전혀 없고 가족들과 식사를 하면서 생선이나 게 등을 먹어야 할 때도 양심의 가책을 느낍니다. 이 상황을 그저 인내해야 한다면 좀 더 구체적인 조언을 듣고 싶습니다. 혹시 식사할 때 마음으로 염불을 하면 도움이 될까요? 그러다 보면 최소한 부모님께서도 제 행동에 마음이 상하지 않게 되실까요? 긴 질문 죄송합니다.
Master, it's really impressive about this monk, and I don't have any wisdom or no blessings like this monk, but I like to discuss about my eating, especially about animals. I like animals, and then I feel really guilty. For over 20 years, I stopped eating animals except stop eating meat except seafood because the parents were bothered by not eating meat and becoming vegetarian. So I discussed with my parents and then decide to eat seafood. But still my parents complain and and I feel guilty because I don't want to bother my parents. So when we're eating together, I eat crab or fish, but I still feel guilty that I'm eating this seafood, crab and fish. And so while I was eating, what should I do? How do I apologize for this? And should I just recite Buddha's name? Would that be helpful?
Depends on what's important to you. I don't know your conditions enough. I don't know about your parents enough to be able to advise you on what to do. Okay, in your conditions with your family, what your dependence on your parents, the nature you're dependent on them. For example, they give you money, they support you to school, you have a job or what. So it's a lot of information that I need more before I can give you a piece of advice. Okay, personally, I feel that in this 21st century, most people are more open-minded. They can complain about the food and so forth, but and that if you're vegetarian, but if you stand your ground, I think most of your family members will not like it, but they will respect your choices at all. Okay, but then this is the general observation. A lot of people, normal people, do not like it when you eat. You are vegetarian. It bothers them. However, nowadays, you notice, you go to restaurants, there are many vegetarian options. Actually, many restaurants, the majority of restaurants, more like 70-80% of restaurants I've been to, they made sure they advertise their vegetarian options. Some of them put like a green thing, some kind of green thing on the menu items so that we can go in and order only from the green item things. Okay, so it's a lot more acceptable nowadays to be vegetarian. It's more fashionable, especially with young people. And so I feel that it's much more acceptable. You don't need to. I would not bend. I would. When I first started, I also decided to become vegetarian because meat tasted so bad to me. So it was no longer attractive for me to eat meat. It tasted bitter. Yeah. All of it, all the meat stuff. So I realized that I couldn't eat meat anymore. So I became vegetarian. And of course, my family, my brothers who were close to me, they hated it. They got very offended. They said, "So you think you're superior than us or something?" But nowadays, it's a totally different. It's much more fashionable to be vegetarian because of the health concerns, if you will. Okay, and so I feel that it's not a big of a deal anymore. Okay, and plus the nutritionists are coming out with plenty of information, plenty of testimonials, people who've been vegetarian for a long, long time, 20, 30, 50 years. They could be marathon runners, they could be scientists, they could be doctors. So there are plenty of experiences for people who shared being vegetarian, and how healthy they are, and how happy they are, and so forth. I don't think it's any longer an issue at all. Maybe your parents are sort of old-fashioned. Maybe they should know about it. There's plenty of scientific information now that says being vegetarian is a very healthy thing, much healthier than eating meat. Okay, so you don't have to declare yourself as vegetarian. You can simply say, today I don't feel like eating meat, I will eat vegetarian. When there's some things that you have craving for, that you enjoy, it's okay to eat some as well. So to me, as a lay person, it's your personal preference. You can choose to live the life you want, and your parents need to learn to respect it. That's all. Unless they pay for everything, then it's a different story. If you pay for me, I do what you want. That's my attitude. Okay? Yeah. If I pay my own, then I get to choose. That's all. And if I don't like it anymore, I will not take money from you anymore, and I do as I please. Okay? That's life. Okay? I think nowadays, I don't know where she's coming from, what kind of nationality, ethnicity, and so forth. It's a lot more open-minded, everyone, nowadays. Okay? People are not as old-fashioned as it used to be, not as rigid as it used to be. And you can make a case for being vegetarian pretty easily. Okay? It's your life, after all. Okay? Again, the only exception I would accept is that they pay for everything. If they own me, fine, I do as you please. I let you own me, then I will do what you tell me. But I don't let you own me, then I will do as I please. Okay? It's just my attitude. All right, I think time is up. We don't have time to continue, so we stop here tonight. We continue. I will make comments tomorrow night and continue on these slides. Thank you all for your patience. Thank you all for coming.